Okay, fantastic. And I shall hand over to Kaylee. So I'm going to pin Kaylee for everyone. So as long as you stay on mute, you will not be recorded. And then I'll hand over. I'll give you screen sharing as well, Kaylee.
Just that to us. Yeah.
There we go. Excellent. Right. Fantastic. So Kaylee is the joint owner of Kakadu Creative and is here today to talk to us about all things design. He said, filling in the. Are you specifically talking about certain aspects, aren't you?
So yeah. So you'll see. I'm not.
We'll see.
I'm going to jump into it.
It's a surprise. Amazing.
Right. So we've got to start sharing my screen.
Okay.
So let's have a look. Oh, that's what I wanted. Oh, cool. There we go. Right. Okay. So let me minimize that down. And let's go to full screen mode. Okay. Can we all see that? I can't see you, so just someone shout if you can see it. Yeah, cool. Okay, perfect. So as you can see on your screen, I'm here to give you a website masterclass and help you to turn your website into a high-performing sales machine. But before I do that, who am I? So not everyone knows who I am, so I thought I'd give you a little bit of an intro. So I'm Kaylee. I was born in 1985, a very iconic year, obviously, as you can see. I'm an animal lover. Obviously, you all are. We're all here because we all love animals. Vegan living goes without saying. Scuba diving and skip, please. Samba playing. And this actually is going to be me as of tomorrow. After this meeting, I'm heading down to London, and I'm going to be in London for the next 2 weeks at the Extinction Rebellion environmental protests. So if you're in London or you're around London, please come down, please get involved. It's amazing. There'll be, if you want to come and bang my drum, you can come and grab my drum off me. But yeah, so that'll be me for the next 2 weeks. Tree hugging, obviously, everyone's got to hug a bit of a tree. Music loving, goes without saying. Business owning, ginger, woman. So now you know a bit more about me. Let's talk about websites. So I'm going to start with a few statistics just to give you a bit of a feel for why it's so important to make sure that your website is right. Okay, that's just weird. The first thing says, I don't know why it's just jumped like this, 0.5 seconds. It takes 0.5 seconds for a user to make an opinion about your site. And as you can see, 75% of users judge the credibility of a business based on a website's aesthetics. So you've got a really short window of time to for people to make an opinion, and they're going to make an opinion of your business based on your website's aesthetics. 40% of users will abandon a site if it's not mobile friendly, and this is just going to increase. People using their mobiles to access the internet, the statistics around that are growing and growing and growing every year. It's still, so if it's a business to consumer website, you'll generally find it's around 70 to 80% of your users will be accessing it on mobile. If it's a business to business website, you're looking more around 50-50, but those statistics are increasing. So you need to make sure that your website is accessible and user-friendly on a mobile. 3 seconds, that's the max time users expect a website to load in. And interestingly, there were some statistics I saw recently where it said on average, a desktop website loads in 18 seconds on average, and a mobile version loads in 22. That is extraordinarily far too long. So speed of your site loading is a really important thing to be conscious of. 2.6 seconds to decide whether they like or dislike a website. So it's 0.5 seconds to make an opinion, and then it takes them another couple of seconds to decide if it's an opinion that they like your site or they don't like your site. So people are making decisions really, really quickly. 57% of users will not recommend a business with a poorly designed website. And that goes back to, we all know how valuable a referral is. We all know how important it is when we give a referral that we're comfortable to point a contact in the direction of that business, because at the end of the day, it reflects back on us. If we're recommending a business and you know they're not very good, then that reflects on us. And it's the same with the website. If you're recommending a business, you want to make sure that you're recommending someone who is good at what they do, and the website is a big part of that. So 38% of users will stop visiting the site if the content is too long. And this again is getting more and more important. The attention span of humans is getting shorter and shorter and shorter every year. I think last I saw it was something like 6 seconds, and it was only a few years ago that the attention span was 8 seconds. So if you think about that, if you present a web page that isn't a blog, so people will expect blog pages to be longer, but if you present a service page or a home page or an information page on your site and it's full of big blocks of text, people aren't sticking around, they're not reading it. So make sure you're giving people bite-sized bits of information that they can easily absorb. You've got really strong content hierarchy, which I'll get into later, that helps people to really feel like the content is bite-sized, and then they'll stick around and then they'll read it. And last but not least, 89% of users will go to a competitor after a poor user experience. So not only is it really important to make sure you're engaging your user, not only is it really important to make sure that they trust you, they like you, they want to refer you. If you don't have a good website, you'll lose them to someone else. So, you don't want to be sending 90% of your users, 89% of your users off to a competitor. So those are some statistics to explain why you really do need to make sure that your website is working as hard as it can for you. I quite often say that you need to think about your website in regards to that it's basically your best salesperson. They never take any holiday, they never take any sick leave, they are always there when your potential customer wants you. So don't underestimate the power of your website. So now you know all of that, I'm going to jump into some bits and pieces around how to make sure your site is the best it can be. So, I've jumped ahead. Website trends. So Mark, obviously you said about design. I'm not going to talk about website trends because we say screw trends. Trends come and go. And if you're constantly trying to make a site that is on trend and it's got the latest colors or the latest styles, it might not necessarily be right for your business. So there's a trend at the moment that's around I can't remember the term now, it's gone completely out of my head, but it's basically like really harsh fonts. Brutalism, there it is. So that's why he's the designer. Brutalism, it's just really blocky text, and it's using text as a design element, and it's just, it's not a great user experience. And there's also another trend, which is around using really neon colors, really 80s retro colors. But if your business is one that is wanting to portray themselves as professional, luxury, all of that kind of thing, if you're then trying to follow those trends, it's not right for your business. So that's why we say don't follow trends, do what is right for your business, your customer, your user, and make sure that you're delivering what they want to see rather than following a trend that someone tells you is the latest big thing. But there are a few trends that you do need to follow. So this is one, facts and benefits. So quite often you're going to a website and they will just tell you facts. This is us, this is our service, this is what we do, this is that, this is the other. They're just broadcasting. And actually what the user wants to understand is, okay, that's great, but what are you doing for me? How do you help me? How do you make my life better? How do you reduce pain? How do you take away this problem that I've got? That's what they want to know. They want to understand how you help them, because at the end of the day, as horrible as it is, humans are selfish. We want to know what's in it for us. So make sure that you're being really overt and clear with the benefits that your service, your business, your products offer, and not just broadcasting facts and figures. Keep it simple. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying in regards to if content's too long. People don't want to have to try and dig and wade through pages of content and try and work out what you're telling them. They want it to be really simple and clear. So when they scan that page, they understand straight away who you are, what you do, and how you help them. So keep it simple, keep it bite-sized, and make it easy for them to digest. Because if you don't, your competitor will be, and you'll lose them to them. Make it accessible. So this is a big one that's going to become more and more and more important as time goes on. So obviously, we're all ethical people. We understand about what it means to make sure that things are accessible. We want everyone to be treated equally and fairly, and not just people, animals. And it's the same when it comes to your website. So as technology is evolving, more and more people are able to access the internet when they may, in the past, have had something that limited them. So it may be that they've got a visual impairment, for example, and previously they've not been able to see a website. But now they're screen readers, and screen readers can obviously read that content to the user and explain to them what is on the site. And so there's really important things that you need to be looking at to make sure that your site is accessible for all, because if it's accessible for all, you're engaging everyone, and again, you're less likely to lose those people to a competitor. And last but not least, make it inclusive. So you might think that they're similar, but obviously they're not. So inclusive is talking about the fact that if you've got an audience of, multiple ethnicities, multiple genders, multiple age groups, make sure those people are represented on your site. Make sure that when they look at your site, they feel like it's there for them, your service is there for them, and you're not just talking to one sort of part of your audience. And make sure that when your audience lands on your site, they feel included, they feel like you're there for them. And they are the web trends that we recommend you focus on. So the bulk of this talk is actually about 10 common website mistakes and how you can avoid them. And these are things we see all the time. So we do something called a website audit, where we will basically go in to your site and we'll analyze it from both a design and a technical perspective. And these are the 10 most common mistakes that we see all the time. And a lot of them are really, really simple ones that are easy to fix, or people just don't realize that they're a problem. So number one, insecure content. Now, the way to check if your site has got insecure content is to open it up and see if you see this here. If you've got this here, it means that your site isn't secure, and that means that it hasn't got an SSL certificate, an active SSL certificate. Or it may be that it's got elements on the site which aren't secure and other elements which aren't, which then create conflicts and mean that your site isn't secure. Now, you may still be able to access your site when your site says it isn't secure, but other people may see a screen like this, and that means that their website provider or their browser is blocking access to your site for them because your site isn't secure. Sometimes you can click on this advanced and you can push through and you can still visit the site, but some browsers and some web providers will completely block it and they will stop people going to your site. So check if this is a situation with your site, and if it is, get it secure. It's a really simple thing to do, and we actually have a blog on our site around how to secure your website, a blog article, sorry. Not responsive. So this is another really big one we see all the time, particularly with a Wix website. If you've got a Wix website, this is a problem that you've got. So you can see on this screen here, you've got the website page here. You've got the website page. So you've got website page on the large Mac, the screen. You've got it on a laptop. Then you've come onto tablet and mobile, and you can see where the content is now not fully displaying. It's not responded to the page. It's not responded to the device it's on, which means that when people are going on to other devices to see your site, they're either having to zoom in, zoom out, scroll left and right. Should not be having to do that in 2022 on a website. So, and like I said earlier on, in regards to if your site isn't mobile responsive, people will leave. This is a big one. And this is obviously a big problem. And with the growth in mobile traffic, just getting more and more and more every year, if your site isn't responsive, you're more at risk of people leaving the site. So if you're not sure if your website is responsive, a really easy way to work it out is if you open your site on your laptop or your desktop and drag the window of your screen in, either from the left or the right, and just see if the content adjusts. If it adjusts, and you scroll it all the way across and everything is still on the screen, it's all adjusted and you can scroll up and down, your site's responsive. If as you scroll, as you reduce that window, stuff starts to disappear off the screen, left and right, then your site isn't responsive and you need to speak to either your web developer and get them to sort that out. Or if you're on something like Wix, you need to find another platform. Wix is notoriously bad for this. And the next one, so no calls to action. So it kind of goes back to the thing around keeping it simple. So a user wants to really easily understand what you want them to do when they're on the site, when they're on a page and they've read the content and they're like, okay, I'm interested. What do I do next? There needs to be a really clear call to action. And quite often we've seen websites where they either don't have calls to, well, they either have really, really small, it'll just be like a little bit of text saying click here to do X, or they'll have none at all. So make sure that you've got calls to action. Go through your pages and look at them with the user's eye and look at them and sort of say, if I was scanning this page and I was trying to work out what my next step was, can I see it really clearly without having to read all of the text? If the answer is no, then you need to do some work in adding some calls to action. If the answer is yes, then great, you've got this one ticked off. Broken links. So this is a problem. So for example, if people are going onto a site and you've linked across to another page, so you've talked to them about a service and it's like, okay, you can go and find out more information about the service here, or click here to go and sign up to this course, or click here to buy this product. If that link is broken, that user journey is broken, and therefore they won't take that next step. So there's a tool on the end, at the end of this proposal at the end of this presentation, there's actually a link to a resource where you can enter your website in, and it will scan your website for free, and it will tell you if you've got any broken links on there. So I'll get to that one at the end. Wide line lengths. This is one we see all the time. Now, wide line lengths, it isn't the length of a sentence, it's literally the length of the text on the screen. And this is a perfect example, so you can see how wide this is across my screen. We see this all the time. And because we see it all the time, this is why we think that other people keep doing it, because they see it on other sites and they go, well, they're doing it, so that must be fine, so I'll do it. And actually, this is really, really bad for user experience, because subconsciously, it's really, really hard for the eye to run all the way across that wide length, and then for the brain to work out where it's coming back to. So it's read all the way along here, and then it's like, okay, I need to come back to the next line. Where's the beginning of the next line? Not so bad on the first bit, but as you're getting deep into a paragraph and you're over here, your brain struggles to work out, okay, well, where am I getting back to? Realistically, you want the width of your text to be no more than sort of 800-900 pixels, because it's just easier for the eye to bring itself back to the beginning of the next line. So just have a look through your site, and if you've got these big blocks of wide length text, you need to get those shortened back down. And then the next one. So I touched earlier on around poor hierarchy. We see this a lot. So this is actually a really good example of hierarchy, in that straight away your eye is pulled into this. You will read this first. It's the biggest thing, it takes the most amount of space, it's the most eye-catching thing, so your eye is straight away drawn to that. Then your brain goes, okay, I've read that, what's the next bit? And then the next bit is this. It's a level down in regards to the hierarchy and the space it takes and the size of it. So then your brain automatically goes, oh, okay, this is the next bit I need to read. And then once it's done that, it goes, right, okay, well, where's the next bit? Oh, okay, this is the next bit. And then past that, you've got this text here, which is not showing up very well on my screen today. But yes, so that's what we mean by hierarchy, making sure that you've got really clear headlines, subheadlines, paragraph copy, really clear calls to action that make it really easy for the eye to scan through the page and understand what is the most important thing it needs to read, and then goes along through that. And it's the same with imagery, with text, with buttons. You need to make sure that the hierarchy of your content is laid out in a way that it's really easy for the eye to scan through and see what is most important for it to read. Because a lot of people will scan through a page and just read the headlines and work out, okay, which section is right for me. And then once they've found that headline that's relevant to them, then they'll read that bit of copy. But if everything looks the same, or it's very, very similar in size and layout and structure, it's not easy for you to scan that. And therefore it feels hard work. It feels like you've got to read everything to understand what the page is. And like I said earlier on, you make it hard for them, they're gone. So next one, not user first content. So this leads into, or this kind of hinges off the back of the website trend, the first website trend I talked about in regards to it being facts and benefits. So it's where a business is just broadcasting. You're just broadcasting. You're telling them what you want to tell them, what you think they want to hear, what's great about you. And actually, they don't really care about that. They want to know what is good for me. What is it? What can you offer me? What's the benefit for me? So go through your site and read the content and think, okay, if I was looking for that service, if I was looking for that product, would I care about this stuff? Would I really be interested? What would I want to know about this business, this product? And then make sure that you're putting that content on the site. There's a lot of broadcasting and not enough engaging, and that's what you need to be doing with your website. You need to be engaging the user. No lead capture or lead magnets. So this is also a similar thing in regards to the calls to action. So people either don't have calls to action or they don't have a lead magnet. They have no way to capture that user. And realistically, most people, when they first land on a site, they're not ready to make a decision. They're not ready to buy your service, to buy your product. They're in research mode. And you may be the very first person that the person's website they've gone to. And if you are, then they've got another 3, 4, 5, maybe even 10 other websites that they're going to go and research before they make a decision. So it may be that by the time they've gone through all of those other websites, they've forgotten you, or they can't remember who you were, or they're not quite sure how to find you. And if you've not captured their data at that time, on that first visit, then you're running the risk of not being able to pick them up later on down in that sales journey. So you need something on your site that enables you to capture that data. So it could be that you've got like a PDF document, a checklist that you offer people to download a free sample. Maybe that you've got an ultimate guide to something. It could be that you've got, it could even be if you're a retailer, it could be that you've got get 10% off your next delivery. It's something literally as simple as that is just encouraging that user to leave their email address with you, so that you can then obviously keep talking to them as they go down their sales journey. Here we go. Here's an example of a lead magnet. We've actually got an article on our site, which was written by the lovely Sam from Zebra Admin, who isn't here, unfortunately, because she's not well. There is an article on our site written by Sam that talks about lead magnets, how to make them, ideas of what they could be. So at the end of this presentation, there is a page that has a few resources, and there is the URL for our blog where Sam's article is. So make sure you screen grab that at the end. No image optimization. This is a huge one we see all the time. So what we mean by image optimization is people will have taken a photo that has potentially come directly out of their phone, directly from the professional photographer. They've downloaded it directly from a stock image site, and they are high quality, print ready photos that you could sometimes even blow up to billboard size. They are huge quality. You don't need that on a website. You just don't. The websites, to give you a bit of jargon, unfortunately, the website uses 72 DPI, like dots per inch, and a print document uses 300. So you can see the difference in quality that you need for a print image and a digital image. So if you've got an image that's straight out of the camera, straight from the stock site, straight from a photographer, it needs to be optimized. And what we mean by that is it needs to be sized to the right dimensions, because you're not going to need an A3 photo, for example, on a website. It just doesn't need to be that big. So you need to size it to the right dimensions. And then you need to compress it, and you need to adjust the quality of the image. And I'm not saying make it look pixelated and rubbish. You need to just compress the size down. Again, there's an article on our site that talks about how to do this. And realistically, what you want to be doing is your images on your site, your header images should be no more than 300 kilobytes max, and your illustrative images should really be around 100, 150 kilobytes. And as you can see on this page here, when we did an audit, they had huge file sizes here. And the reason this is a problem is because these files have to be downloaded. So they have to be downloaded onto the person's computer to display. They have to be downloaded onto a phone, a tablet to display. It's an automatic process. You're not having to obviously physically click download, but it's something that's done in the background. And obviously the larger the files, the more power and energy it takes to download these files, and the longer it takes. So if you think about someone accessing your website from their phone when they're out and about. I mean, most people don't get 3G anymore, but let's say worst case scenario, they've got 3G and they're trying to download these files. It is going to take forever. So this is why image optimization is really important, because again, it ties back to the stats I was saying earlier on. People expect a site to load within 3 seconds. If it's taking more than that, they're gone. And your images and your videos and all the rest of it that you put on the site that weigh the site down are all things that mean that you are really unlikely to hit that figure unless you optimize them, unless you integrate videos through embed codes, for example, rather than hosting them directly into your site. There's a few things that you can do, but image optimization is one we see all the time. And last but not least, automated meta text. Now, this isn't technically a web design thing, but this is something that we see a lot. And basically what it is sites have been built, and the meta description and the meta titles haven't been set in the build. So this here, to give you an idea of what meta titles and meta descriptions are, this bit here in the purple, this is a meta title. And this bit here is this sort of text down here is the meta description. And if you don't set these in the back end of your site, what happens is the search engines decide what they want to take off of that page and deliver onto the search engine result page. And quite often what we see is, if you haven't said it, you'll quite often see listings on Google, which you put in a search term, you've got a list of results. And if this meta description and meta title hasn't been set, what you'll quite often see is just some random sentence from the middle of the page, which means nothing. Or you'll just see in the meta title, it will literally just be the company name. Or in the meta description, there'll be like the privacy policy details or the address. And let's be honest, if someone has put a search term in and they have been given a page of results, and the result for your business is just your company name and your privacy policy or your address, are they going to click on that? No, they're not. They want you, this is your first opportunity to sell to them. They want you to tell them why they should click on your search result rather than your competitors. And this is why it's really important to make sure that your meta description and your meta titles have been set. And if you're on WordPress, there's a free tool called Yoast, which you can download and integrate, or so you can integrate into your site. As a plugin, you just switch it on, and then for each of your pages, you can go in, and it has a really simple way where you can set your meta titles and meta descriptions. I'm going to skip through this because we've not got much time. Okay, so this is what I was saying in regards to extra resources. So I mentioned a couple of times the fact that we do a website audit. If you're looking for some advice on your website, what we do is myself, Lee, and our developer, we manually go into your site and we have a look through it, and we work out some areas for improvement. And then I record a 15-minute video up to around 15 minutes where I talk you through the things that we found and give you some advice specifically for your site. So that's that resource there. This is the blog. This is the link to our blog, where obviously I've mentioned a few articles that we have on there already. There's dozens of articles on there with all sorts of information that can help you with your site, not just with your website, but your branding and just general ethical business. This is a performance checker. So if you're not sure, if you haven't got optimized images on your site, if you run a few of your URLs through gtmetrics.com, it will tell you if you've got unoptimized images. So that screenshot I had, where I pulled out the rounder with the 3.56 megabytes or whatever it was, that's a screenshot from GTmetrix. It will tell you whether you've got unoptimized images. You'll run your site through, and then you'll look at the bottom. There's a few bits of sort of what it tells you needs to be done on your site. And if it says, oh God, it's going just completely out of my head, something like, it's gone. Something about, if that's it, it's come back. Avoid enormous network payloads. If you see that, you've got unoptimized images. And broken link checker. This is the one I was saying earlier on. ahrefs.com, broken-link-checker. And that will tell you if you've got any broken links on your site. And I think, yep, that is me. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can answer any questions you may have.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kaylee. That was hugely informative, and I'm sure everyone's taken something from that. We've got about 10 minutes, so if anyone's got some questions for Kaylee, if you want to ideally use the raise hand icon, because then I get you in the right order, but otherwise I'm going to switch to gallery so I can see everyone. Wave at me, and we'll put some questions to Kaylee. In the meantime, I guess while people are having a little think, because there was a lot of information in there. When you do your audits, how often do you find that sort of actually there are minimal issues, or is it pretty much always issues of some sort?
There's pretty much always issues. I think I don't even know how many. I'd say probably around 5 to 10% are basically you're all good. Maybe tweak this little thing, but you're all good. But the vast majority have got issues. But I guess you could kind of say if they didn't have issues, they wouldn't be asking for an audit. So that might be why we see so many. But yeah. Pretty much every single one.
No, that's fair. I mean, I guess, but then I suppose also, you think, oh, my website's probably fine. I'm gonna prove it.
Yeah, it is, but it's always when we have the ones where they're basically perfect, you always go, oh, what do we tell them? It's like, what's the problem. There isn't. But then we just say, look, you're all good. You know, you're good. You're sorted. These are the problems we'd normally look for. You're all sorted. And the biggest ones the big ones we generally always see: the wide line lengths, the bad content hierarchy, or basically no content hierarchy, unoptimized images, and slow. They are the 4 big ones, and they're really, really important, and they're the ones we see all the time, which is quite scary, because they should be ones that, as standard, sites are built in a way that you don't have those problems. But yeah, they're ones we see all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess once you get those things fixed for sort of new content, it almost gives the business owner kind of a template, doesn't it? Once they know how it should look, to say, actually, if they need to change or create something new, it's kind of, this is how it should fit together, and this is how it should look, and all the rest of it. But if you started from a website builder, they're not great, are they? I mean, they're good for getting you up and running, but I've certainly seen some of the issues you describe.
Yeah, and there's a real problem in, and it's not just with websites, it's with just general business marketing in general, that small businesses in particular, they will use these online builders, or they'll use sites that they'll use designers or businesses that have templates that they make the company fit to. So it's like, just send us your text, we'll drop it into the box and it's done. And that serves a purpose. It does work for launching a business, testing a business idea. But the problem is that the more sites that are built like that, the more other businesses see sites built like that and think, well, that's the way that you do it, because there's so many sites out there that do it that way. But I would always say, yes, there are lots of sites out there that look like that because of the things I've said already. But if you look at the sites where they've had investment put into them, if you look at, professional sites of big name brands, that any of them look the way these small business websites look? No. And why is that? Because they're built properly, they're built professionally, and it's not even the much that they've spent a load of money on it. It's the fact that they've actually gone and done it properly, and they've used someone who knows how to design it, and it's been designed for that business, rather than making the business fit to them. And it's the same with an advert. So I was talking to a guy recently who's looking to do a mail out campaign, and he sent me the artwork that he was planning to put in it. And I was chatting through it, and I said, talk me through why you've done it like that. Talk me through why you've put that content there. Talk me through why you've written that copy. And he said, oh, because I've been saving all the ones that came through my door, and this is the way they did it. And I was like, yeah, I know, because that's what happens. You all copy each other, and then you just compound the issue. You're all just copying each other, and you're all doing it wrong. And I said to him, but it's not your fault, because you've never been trained. I spent 10 years in advertising. I've had years and years of training. I know how to lay this stuff out. Lee, has done his degree. He's worked for decades in design. He knows how to do it. And so we've got these skills. And so I said to him, it's not your fault. It's not like I'm going to tell you off, but you've just not had that experience. And so you've copied what other people have done, and they've copied what someone else has done, and they've copied what someone else has done. And you all just end up with, something that doesn't quite work. So it's a frustration. But I want it to work for people. That's why I get frustrated when I see it. I'm like, I want it to be good for you. So I want to tell people how to do this stuff so that they can do it, and we can, stop just following the same problems that we just keep doing.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Excellent. Okay, Mitali, you've got your hand up, so I shall ask Kaylee a question.
Hello, my lovely. Hope you're doing well. Hello. It wasn't really a question. It was just more of a comment. So Fiona, my copywriter, she's just been spending some time over the weekend just going into the back end of my website and doing all the stuff that I hate and gives me a headache, hooking things up to ActiveCampaign and Stripe. And she said that it was one of the most beautifully made and cleanest sites she's worked on in years. So just thought I'd let you know that.
So for those
by the way, Kaylee did my website before you wonder why I'm saying that. Kaylee and then we go, what? What's Kaylee got to do that? No, they created both my websites. So yeah, she was just like very complimentary, said it's so clean. She kept saying clean. So it wasn't, and she's not even talking about the front end, she's just talking about the back end. So it's just clean and neat. And she's so used to going into websites where there's plugins and themes and everything's conflicting with each other. And she was just like, it's so nice and clean and tidy. And yeah, just so I let you know.
Thanks. Oh, good to hear. Yeah, no, that is a problem. I mean, Natalia, we've talked about this a lot, haven't we, in regards to the sites that you'd had before. They were just loads of plugins.
Yeah.
This is another problem. So obviously I talked about images weighing down a site and making them slow. Plugins do the same. So the more plugins you've got, the more code and HTML requests that servers have to deliver in order to deliver that page. And the more it's having to do, the more it's having to pull together, and the more it's having to process, again, the slower it is. So that's why we always try and have a really clean build, because it just means it's optimized from both the front and back end. Then it's fast, and then your users like it, and then they stick around, and you're more likely to convert them. And yeah, it all adds up.
Similarly, I know when you did my site, you stripped a load of plugins out as well, and you did that for exactly the same reasons. So yeah, that's good. Excellent. Good to hear a live testimonial there from Natalia. And I mean, similarly, you're very happy, as you know, with my site, and both in terms of the technical functioning and the visual design. So yeah, definitely very good. If anyone's thinking about getting their website redone, definitely go to Kakadu.
Thanks for the testimonials, guys.
Pleasure. Excellent. Has anyone got any other questions? We've got a couple of minutes before the end. Samantha.
Hi, Kaylee. I'm absolutely fangirling your Andre the Giant sticker in the background. So.
Oh yeah, that's oh. There you go.
Yeah, I've got some Shepherd Fairy pieces that are basically my pension plan. So yeah,
yeah, that's Lee.
I would love to
sorry, go on, Sam.
you. You have been on my wish. I'd love to be able to afford you. You've been on my wish list for about the last 18 months. However, I'm not in that position yet. I'm about to redo my website again from scratch for my 1st of May relaunch. I use Shopify. I have got Ionos for a load of domain names, which keywords which nobody else has got, which I think would considerably help me SEO. What tips would you give me for writing from scratch using a platform like Shopify? Because you've just mentioned about plugins, optimization and stuff, but I am an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. What tips would you give me?
Okay, so Shopify is a really great platform because out of the box, it has so much functionality and features that you don't even need to worry about. So for an e-commerce store, perfect, great choice. For you, I would say what I would do, and I don't know if you've already done this, is I would go and have a look at their premium themes. So I'd have a look around and try and find some themes that pick a few that you like the layout and style of, and that you think will work for your business. Because that will straight away give you the content hierarchy that I talked about. One of the biggest things is if you try and build it from scratch with a blank page, you're more than likely going to end up with a poor hierarchy. So just find ones that you feel that flow and have got the features and bits and pieces that you need for your site, for your business. And one of the other things I would recommend is it's something we did with a company a while back, where we moved them from the Magento platform onto Shopify. It was a huge e-commerce store that we transferred. And there were two really big things that we did with them that transformed their site. And one was the imagery. So they had really obviously snapped images from their phone. It was on their checker plate floor in their showroom, and it just looked really unprofessional. And actually, I'm not saying that you need to get a professional photographer in to do this, but we went in and we reshot their whole product range on clean white backgrounds and professionally lit them. And that in itself transformed it. And you can do that yourself. I mean, you've not got huge products that need, a big rollback screen. Sorry, oh God, my brain's half in XR mode already. I'm already thinking I need to get the train soon. Yeah, no, you don't need a professional big rollout backdrop. You could get a cheap photo cube. You can get them from Amazon or eBay. Just get a cheap photo cube. They've got really good lighting at the top. They normally have a couple of strip LED lights. Get your products in there, and you can snap them on your phone. If you've got a modern smartphone, the resolution on those images is so high. They're such good quality. So just make sure that you've got really professional, clean, nice photography. But it might be that you don't want them on clean white backgrounds, and actually you want to, as part of your brand, you want some personality. So it might be worth grabbing some accessories and bits and pieces that bring those products to life. But photography with your type of business will be huge to make sure that the user really enjoys the experience of being on your site. And the other big thing is oh, I'm getting some feedback, is making sure that you've got a lead magnet. And like I mentioned earlier, for something like what you do, it could literally be free delivery on your first order, or 10% off your first order, or I don't know if you're planning, I know you talked before about wanting to bring in your lifestyle stuff and your articles and things. It might be that you create like a pack of patterns, you know, give us your email address and we'll send you a pattern for free, or something like that. So they're the three things. Find a premium theme that will work for your site and gives you that content hierarchy. Don't neglect your photography, and have a strong lead magnet that means you can capture those people and keep talking.
That sounds fabulous. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Now, I think we might just about got enough time. Jabari's got her hand up, so just to quickly squeeze in one more question before the end. Appreciate it's nearly 12, so if people do need to drop off, don't forget to save the chat before you go.
I did have two, but I'll just ask one because of time. Thanks,
Jabari, you can always message it to me. Send it to me on LinkedIn or something, and I'll answer.
All right, thanks, Kaylee. That was a really good masterclass. Thank you. Just really quickly, I have a WordPress website, and I have links to my blogs on a page that I've called Veganism, but that's not on the home page. Do you think that I should have links to my blog, to each of my blog posts on the home page rather than under Veganism, which is not on the home page?
No, I wouldn't link to each of your individual blog posts on your home page. I would have within your navigation bar, I'd have a link to your blog in the navigation bar so people can access it from wherever they are in your site. And then when they click on that link, I would then have a page that then has all of your blog posts on there with a search bar, so that people can search for specific things. But no, I wouldn't link to every single one on your homepage. That's way too much. But yeah, link in your navigation bar, and then that links to a page specifically to present all of your blog articles.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Kaylee. I think fantastic, loads of good tips, and I can see in the chat lots of people obviously finding some gems in there. So thank you very much. I'm going to finish the recording.